Hi folks, how's it going? Triarius Wargaming here with another bench update. So just wanted to fill y'all in on what I've been working on so far. And this is, stuff I've done kind of since mid-December and January. And I also made a shit ton of terrain, which I'm not going to showcase right now, but you'll see that stuff later. So I've been making a lot of terrain as well, which has been taking up time. But I also got these other units done, so let's take a look. So first up, we have these guys, and these are some of the most adaptable troops that you can do for an ancient wargaming army. These are Thureophoroi. These were kind of your standard type troops in the sort of Hellenistic era. Your kind of generic mercenary type dudes. So for these guys, I went in a couple different directions. The history kind of behind these guys, everyone is familiar with the Greek hoplites with their kind of round, bronze-faced shields, the aspis. Basically what happens, and no one really knows the whole story behind this, but a few decades after Alexander's death, these guys armed with this new kind of shield, the Thureos shield, these oval shields, become kind of ubiquitous across the Mediterranean. And you hear different theories for the origin of the shield. Is it from Italy? Is it from the Gauls? No one really knows for sure, where the design came from. But it spread all around. It traveled to Spain, it traveled to Sicily, it traveled to Greece, it traveled to Asia Minor, modern day Turkey, everywhere. It really became the kind of new go-to shield for people. And in Greek warfare, you have this trend of basically hoplites getting lighter and lighter equipment, and skirmishers getting heavier and heavier equipment throughout the kind of ancient period. And eventually they kind of converge into this troop type, the Thureophoroi, Thureos shield bearers. So I kind of tend to lean towards the Italian origin of the shield, and that's not to say that the shield didn't originate with the Gauls, but a lot of research recently has looked at this kind of Western Mediterranean, Central Mediterranean fighting style that involves oval shields and javelins, and through mercenary usage. I think that's kind of how this spread. But, I'm kind of getting distracted. But anyways, this is a really useful troop type, and I decided to base them on 40s by 40s to kind of represent, how they can be, so I can use them in a bunch of different ways. So as they're kind of formatted right now, and, I probably might orient them slightly differently. Oops. Depending, probably have this in the middle, and probably this on the other side or something, but like this is how I would field this unit for the To the Strongest rules, which are my, the big battle rule set that I mainly play. And this unit is actually a kit bash of, multiple different manufacturers. Aventine miniatures, Victrix miniatures, conversions from the Peltasts and the Romans, and then also Wargames Foundry. And these are kind of like slightly lighter equipped hoplites in a kind of dense phalanx. That's what I kind of wanted to get at for To the Strongest. They're going to join my, they could join any, successor era army of the period. Now, what I'm thinking I could also do, the sharp-eyed among you might spot some Italian-style helmets, is, really the Central Italians were using shields like this as well. The Italian peoples. So they use regular size units, not deep units. So bada bada bing, bada boom. All of a sudden now we have two units of Italian southern Italian troops, mercenaries. These could be fighting for for Syracuse and Sicily. Carthaginian armies in the First Punic War used these troops a ton. They could be kind of that hodgepodge of Greek settlers and native Italian tribesmen that you find in Italy itself. So all in all, very versatile. You could field them as one deep unit for the kind of Hellenistic Greeks, or two smaller units, regular units of javelin men, which I would do like that. And then we have another option available to us as well, and that is forming them into groups of 3. And actually, we'll do it this way. And why groups of 3, you ask? Well, I'm thinking this is going to be for Too Fat Lardy's Infamy. So we've got, currently it's, late Republican Rome, early Imperial Rome is what Infamy is built for. But what is coming soon is, expansions, and they're going to be looking at Greece and Carthage. And if they're taking things back to the Punic Wars, then Thureophoroi, they are ubiquitous for the period, especially for successor period Greeks. You don't really see so much hoplites in this time period, and you're really not going to see pikemen, skirmishing with their pikes, in a skirmish game. These guys, that's what they're for. They're multi-purpose troops. So, trusting they do their research, I would expect to see this troop type in that rule set. All right, what do we have next? We'll take a look over here. So here's my first, unit of Napoleonics that I've done. And yes, that is a tiny unit of 95th rifles. I'm sure I've made some mistakes in there with, the colors and everything. But yeah, I banged these guys out really quickly, and they're going to be for Sharpe Practice probably. And then eventually, black powder once my forces grow. But I'm predicting the Napoleonics are, it's going to be a while to really build up those black powder forces by myself because, I really have to build both sides. That's kind of where I'm at right now, both sides of conflict. So I'm going to have to build French and, British what I actually saw recently, Wargames Atlantic, which is kind of a new company that I like. They have got these new, limited pose but large bulk Prussians coming out, and maybe we'll do a large Prussian, we'll add some Prussian divisions on, and these are meant, I'm building originally for the Peninsular War, but I don't really have a problem using Peninsular War figures for the 100 days or whatever, for now anyways, because space is space, and time is time, really. So in the back here, we've got some Republican Roman cavalry, and that guy in the back, he's gonna be a leader for Sharpe Practice, but I just need to do a little more research on the colors on that guy before I finish him. But yeah, these are my Republican Roman cavalry for Infamy, and I'm going to talk about my Republican Roman build shortly. But there you have them, and how they would really be deployed in the game. Oh, they kind of stuck together a little bit. You do something like this for the cavalry, for frontage-wise. That's how they would be in Infamy. And, these will work to the strongest, too, on this kind of basing system. So these actually are figures are a mix of both Aventine miniatures and the Warlord Games late Republican Roman cavalry, Caesarian cavalry. They work perfectly fine for mid-Republican too, which is actually the kind of army I'm building off of here. And I actually put the Aventines on slightly larger horses, footsore horses that I had extra lying around, because the Aventine horses and the riders are small, but they kind of blend in, so it's okay. And then we also have one of my generals for the infamy Republican Roman force. And yeah, I mentioned it, but I'm going to be talking a lot more in depth about my Republican Roman build for Infamy, and I've also got the Gauls coming too, which you'll see in the coming weeks. Yeah, so there's a little update from me. I did post a video too about some Republican Roman cavalry stuff. I might post a little bit more too. It was originally going to be a little more ranty, but I don't know if I'm good at ranting. Maybe that's a skill I have to work on. So I hope you're keeping safe. I hope you're doing well. Take care, and see you next time, folks. All right, take care.